In today's video, we're going to check out the brand new GT7 from Realme. This smartphone is coming out in two different variants. There's the Standard Edition and the Dream Edition. The Dream Edition is a Formula One collaboration with a very custom experience that comes with it. And of course, we're also going to be featuring the brand new Dimensity 9400e, one of the first devices launching with this chipset, and a 7000 mAh battery on a device that's as thin as a regular smartphone, which means you should not be able to run through the battery of this within 24 hours, even almost 2 days. This is TK, and this is the Realme GT7. Standard and Dream Edition. Let's check them out and see what makes them so special. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. In front of us I have two packages. There's the Standard Edition GT7 and the Realme GT7 Dream Edition. Again, Formula One collaboration. Of course, featuring the iconic silver wing badge, the Aston Martin green, and a very special box that includes a lot of accessories. The internal experience, for the most part, both devices are pretty much the same. There's a software experience that's augmenting as well as a hardware configuration. And what I mean by this, the brand new Dream Edition looks absolutely fantastic in that beautiful green. And of course, the Standard Edition does come in a few different colorways. Camera hardware is pretty much the same, the battery capacity, and for the most part, as far as RAM and configuration, there is a few variants that you're able to pick up depending on the model that you get. As far as the Standard Edition, we get the charging brick, 120 watts supported here, wired, as well as the USB-C to A cable. Of course, we also get a nice case to be able to protect our device with the word Realme and the device. That's pretty much the Standard Edition. You get everything that you need to basically start using the device. The main thing I'll probably say overall is just keep in mind that this also does have a screen protector. So from a protection standpoint, we have a screen protector and of course the case for the back, so you're ready to go to enjoy. Now, when it comes to the Dream Edition, this is where it gets a little bit more, what I would probably say, involved. The box itself, even from the outside, has a very nice, the watermarking Aston Martin, the wings, the iconic silver wings that we have in there, as well as the Formula One moniker on the top. When you open it up, you're greeted with a nice little box that opens up even into the center, bringing up the actual device in a nice little levitating experience. And there's an additional set of accessories that are positioned under the actual case, or actually where the case bottom part opens up. And in there, what we're seeing is a custom case made directly for the Dream Edition device. We have a nice also 120 watt charger in black to match the USB-C to A cable that we also have in here. So the accessories themselves do get a nice little boost or bump. The biggest thing I'll probably say overall when we're looking at it is that we actually get a very nice SIM removal tool. This is essentially an F1 racing car and a SIM ejector tool that is included with the Dream Edition. The Standard Edition has a standard SIM removal tool, but the customizations and the theme part is basically throughout the entire device. And we also get into that within the software. When it comes down to the hardware itself, overall, we're looking at the same camera sensors on the back, the same 7000 mAh battery, the same fast charging with 120 watts, no wireless charging supported on this device. On the left side, we have a power button, iconically colored green here, obviously with the Dream Edition, standard red on the right. Very nice and very easy to use. A volume rocker right above that. On the top, we have the IR blaster, one of the microphones, as well as the top mounted speaker. On the bottom, they both have their dual SIM trays on the same side, as well as a microphone, USB-C for data and power transfer, as well as obviously audio, and the bottom firing speaker. One thing to mention, depending on the market that you're in, these devices will support an eSIM. The global version that I have right now does not have it activated, or at least does not support it, as I can't find that setting in the device. As I mentioned to you guys, the theme or the customizations when it comes to Aston Martin, as far as the green color, the iconic wings, even down to the Aramco logo on the bottom with Formula One, is very nice. Fingerprint sensor directly within the display. It is an optical, not an ultrasonic. And of course, we have a beautiful large display here running at 120 Hz with QHD plus resolution. It's a 6.78 AMOLED display. Now, when it comes down to the actual devices, for the most part, we're getting very similar experiences. They're both running Realme UI 6.0 on top of Android 15. The Dream Edition does obviously have a slightly different advantage of having up to 16 gigabytes of RAM built in out of the box and up to 512 gigs of internal storage, where the Standard Edition has 12 gigabytes of RAM from 256 up to 512 gigs of storage, which again, depending on where the model that you want to pick up. Both are powered by the Trinity engine. As I mentioned to you guys, the beautiful large display. We have a 7000 mAh battery positioned on both of them. And of course, up to 16 gigabytes built in with an additional 12, or 12 with an additional 12 using the page file system that we have. Trinity engine is there to obviously provide us some great experiences. The model number is exactly the same, although this is a custom edition of it. So that's what I'm trying to say. For the most part, internally, the experience is very much the same. It's mostly when we start looking at the design that we have in here, that raised back here for the backing, for basically better airflow, kind of like how racing cars designed to have a very nice airflow to allow the basically aerodynamic. It even comes down to the camera stack on the back. The casing around it is slightly different. The case itself from the GT7 will work on the GT7 Dream Edition, but it won't work the other way around. As far as what we're looking as far as the cameras here, we're looking at a rear 50 megapixel primary sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 50 megapixel telephoto. Now on the front, we have a 32 megapixel camera that supports 4K 60 frames per second. So let's go ahead into video mode. As you can see here, I'm supporting 4K 60 frames per second on the main sensor, as well as on the telephoto lens. And when we switch over to the front-facing camera, we're also supporting 4K 60 frames, again, at the main punched in or even the slightly wider frame here that we get. And it's been absolutely fantastic working for me. I've been testing it out here in the US, in New York, and even as you're going to see some of the images later on at the launch area when the device is going to be launching. And the Dream Edition does come with a special custom theme that is built in, not only directly from the lock screen, charging animation, but even a special icon pack that you're able to apply in here and customize. If you don't want it, you can switch over, of course, and install your own personal custom launcher. And that level of customization just comes through entirely within the device. You can notice here the hue, the green color, and you can change that, switch back. And of course, you can customize the entire experience, change your lock screen, and do all of that. Now, the final thing is also, it does come with a custom watermark made specifically for the Dream Edition. As you can see here, once you take pictures, you're able to activate it, or you can also remove it within the edit section. The edit section does also feature all of the AI functionalities that we've seen or we've come to appreciate in here. We have AI eraser, AI ultra clarity, unblur, remove reflection, and of course AI glare removal, as well as AI landscape, which really helps us as far as getting better images. And of course, removing reflections will work really great on glasses. But if you want to be able to add the actual custom here, the little frame as far as the watermark, it's absolutely easy. Just add it in there, goes directly into the watermark, and you can customize it. They have a few different ones here that goes on the side, on the top, and of course, whenever you're ready, just save it up there. And one thing to keep in mind is that they do actually provide you a couple of options as far as the screen resolution. You're able to go with the high resolution or the lower one, and obviously the lower one will give you the better battery, and that's going to be the 1080p resolution. As far as the refresh rate, you can have it in auto, high, standard, or high, and obviously depending on your performance or basically the battery life that you want to get. At this point, what I'll probably say is this. At 7,000 milliampere battery, I honestly think you should have everything turned on at the highest resolution. So keep it at 120 frames per second, keep it at the highest resolution, and enjoy it for as long as you want, because I don't think you'll be able to kill this battery in one day. Seriously, this is going to be one of my challenges. I'm going to be trying to see if I can actually run an entire 24 hours and drain the entire battery on the GT7, because I actually don't think it's possible. But when it comes down to the cameras and the experience that we're getting in here, overall, as I showed you guys before, we're looking at 4K 60 and we're also looking at 8K. But I also want to mention that we have 4K 120 for really nice slow motion from the main sensor on the back. That's also very nice. 8K 30 frames per second, also on the mainly on the main sensor in the back. You'll notice the options change here for us. But when it comes down to 4K 120, we get that straight from the main sensor, 4K 60 from the main sensor and the telephoto, 4K 30 keeps us in that same format, 1080p gets us into the ultra wide. So that's going to be the maximum there. We have AI landscape mode, photo mode, portrait mode, and under more, we have of course the additional options that we have. Starry mode, tilt shift, panorama, night mode, and pro mode. But let's not waste any time. Let's go outside real quick and test out the front facing and the main sensor on the back for the Dream Edition as far as it comes into actually recording 4K 60.
I know normally I'm doing this experience in the backyard at my house, but I'm in New York. Why not? Let's do the front facing camera audio and video experience. A little bit of steam here in New York. But this is actually something new. We have 4K 60 frames per second supported on the front-facing camera, and the dynamic range, at least when I'm looking at it right now, looks absolutely fantastic. You're able to see the details, you're able to see everything behind me, and my hope is that the audio and video is replicated here in what I'm seeing, and I think this is going to be one of the better experiences on a Realme that we haven't seen for some time. Well, obviously the main sensors on the back are going to be giving us the best experience, but you know, for somebody that likes to vlog and create content, it's always good to know that the front-facing experience has been upgraded. Let's go ahead and switch over to the main sensor on the back. As you can see, I switched the scenery a little bit, just a little bit of a distance from where we started, but we're using the main sensor 4K 60 frames per second. Now the beautiful thing about it is we have 4K 60 on the main sensor on the back, the telephoto lens on the back, as well as the front-facing camera as we shot that beginning part of the video. We're able to shoot at 8K or even 4K 120 on the main sensor, and 4K 60 is across the main sensors with the exception of the ultra wide. Since it's an 8 megapixel sensor, it's not going to give us that experience. It's a little bit windy, so my hope is that you're able to hear me and that the video quality looks as good as you can imagine.
Now, as you saw there, I was able to test out those experiences in many places, and as you can imagine, the imagery, even when it's gloomy, looks really, really nice. I appreciate what the cameras are doing here for us with the Realme GT7 and the technologies that Realme has been putting in from not only processing, but also providing us some great experiences when it comes down to their AI functionality. Now, I can't stress it hard enough that one of my favorite features is, let's say I want to read an article, but I don't want to necessarily read the article. I turn on AI summary and allow it to go through, and it actually summarizes the entire article for me, bullet point style, easily wherever I am without even having me read or open up or click any links beyond just opening the article. Absolutely fantastic and very nice. And let's say I'm going really lazy wise, I'm going to actually go with AI Speak. It does the exact same configuration, customizes the entire thing, and then speaks the actual article for me. So if I'm in the car, I want to be able to hear an article that just got posted, this becomes very, very nice.
Xbox's next-gen console is doing something we've never seen. This was rejected by the higher-ups.
And it works absolutely fantastic. You can customize the audio, the speech, and it actually even runs even when you're out of the application. It sits on the right side. The customizations that we have in here within the dock allow us to access a lot of the Realme and the customizations that we have from them as far as AI functionality, and it makes it accessible from almost any screen. I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering, where does the 9400e stack up in the series of 9400? The 9400 is still going to be one of the main flagships. The 9400 Plus that was just released is an overclocked version, more enhanced version of it. And the 9400e is slightly more affordable version. I would say if you had to compare it, it's more like the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 than it is the 8 Gen 4. And just to mention, obviously, that there is no 8 Gen 4. But from a benchmark standpoint, 2301 in single core and 7432 in multi-core. Now, although I wasn't able to get the full 4G signal in the US, I was able to clock in actually pretty decent speed, 77.6 down and 35.8 up on T-Mobile in the LA area. And I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get even faster connections if I can find a better area that was closer to the tower. But overall performance has not been disappointing at all. Wi-Fi connectivity and direct connection works really good. And it does support voice over LTE as well as 4G on T-Mobile here in the US if you're considering bringing this to use in the US. Pretty sure you guys want to hear the speakers on this device. We're going to go 100% volume, our favorite song, Jumbo, Alex Grindo, and we're going to go ahead and start it off at 50 seconds.
Jack it up.
You know what? It actually sounds very nice. It has nice loud levels as well as no distortion at the top, and the bass is actually pretty decent. So overall performance on this, when you're listening to music, making phone calls, they're not going to disappoint. And as you saw there with the videos from the main sensor as well as the front-facing camera, you're not going to be disappointed with the quality of the video as well. When it comes down to gaming though, we'll go ahead and jump in and see. I've installed a few games. Some of the things I wanted to experience here is the ability of playing at 120 frames per second in PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, Brawl Stars, Genshin Impact in there, as well as playing some of the additional games in there has been really, really nice. We're going to go ahead and reduce the volume in here real quick and jump in real quick and just do a quick tour of the game launcher. Now, it automatically launches on its own. There is a built-in GT mode that technically puts the device in more of an overclocked position. You can see here, I can go to GT mode, turn it on, and that jumps or pushes the performance to the highest levels possible. Obviously, a small little player for the music here, brightness configuration, all the information that you want. And last but not least, one of my favorite features is the ability of actually showing the status screen. And that's the ability of seeing the levels of what we get here directly with this device, as far as frame rate, GPU, and CPU performance.
Yes, typically what you're looking at me is I'm sitting at my desk and we're talking about the gaming experience. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to gaming, as I'm showing you guys with some of those clips. Yeah, we are in Paris right now. We're finishing off the video, but the performance that I've seen out of this device with the 9400e out of the box is very, very encouraging in the sense of 120 frames per second support on both Call of Duty, PUBG Mobile. If you play, other games, let's say, even Genshin Impact, 60 frames per second, extended gameplay with really good cooling. Also, the fact that we have a 7,000 milliampere battery means we can actually travel places and play on the, let's say, in the car, on a plane, anywhere without having to worry about the battery. A little bit of a challenge for myself. I was trying to see if I can actually drain this battery traveling from LA here to Paris. I started off with 100% on Sunday, well, basically Sunday morning at around 6 o'clock in the morning. And it is almost evening time in Paris, and I'm down to 47%. And I've been testing the camera here as well as traveling, watching content with it, listening to music, and doing a lot of things with it. The overall performance, what you could see from the gaming experience that I'm sharing with you guys right now is that it's a solid gaming device. Flat display is going to be really popular with gamers. The launcher that we have in here for the game experience is very nice. There's a dedicated GT mode to give us that overclocked performance that we expect. Now, when it comes down to basically just Geekbench scores, as you can see here right there, this is intended to be more of a more power efficient, cost-effective version of the 9400. This is the E edition where we still have the 9400 and the 9400 Plus. But as you can see here with the Geekbench score, it's not going to perform the same at around 3,000. It's more around the 2,200 for the single core. But again, a champ at it at that.
When it comes down to connectivity, it depends on where you live. For me in the US, what I was able to get overall was a constant or a consistent 4G LTE connection. I wasn't able to lock into a 5G signal, at least not on T-Mobile. But while here in Europe, in Paris, I was able to lock in using the O roaming function or the service that they have in here in Paris, and it clocked in pretty decent speeds, as I'm showing you guys again with those experiences there. When it comes down to cameras, this is really where you're going to start experiencing what Realme is trying to change in their system. We're used to seeing Realme's cameras very much consistent with a single type of experience when you're shooting content, and you can put in a couple of filters. We now have a dedicated crisp and vibrant mode that's really focusing on giving you a little bit more control as to what you want. If you're in a situation where you need a little bit of more of a bump up in the ISO, the vibrant mode will give you more punchier colors and slightly brighter image. And if you want something closer to the original experience as you're seeing it with the naked eye, the crisp mode does that very nicely out of the main sensor. Now the main sensor is also going to be your best performer out of this entire experience. We're getting 4K 120, we're getting 4K 60, as well as 4K 30, and as well as 8K 30 frames per second. You're getting 4K 60 out of the telephoto lens, as well as the front-facing camera, and 1080p is primarily the experience on the ultra-wide in the back if you want to be able to shoot with that. But I feel like the main sensor should be your bread and butter, and this one performs very nicely. A lot of the AI functionalities is in there, as I showed you guys before. The custom watermark, specifically when it comes to the Aston Martin version of here, that the Dream Edition, as they're calling it for the Formula One edition, looks beautiful. Realme's trying to do here is step up their experience. You could definitely see some improvements in performance, thermals. The large battery that we have here is literally one of the largest on the market. Now, there are other devices that will have maybe a 10,000 milliampere. At 7,000, this is still one of the thinnest devices you can get that fits in your pocket, and it looks like a regular phone. We don't have wireless charging, but the 120 watt charging on this is absolutely fantastic. You're going to have a very, very, very hard time killing this battery in one day. This is an easy 1.5 to 2 days, even more, if you're able to customize and, basically tailor the experience. Great performance on the display, great experiences overall in the UI. I can't wait to see what else they're able to do. And my recommendation would be is if you're a Realme fan and you've viewed these devices before, you're not going to be disappointed. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Realme GT7? And as I'm understanding it, there's also the GT7T that's launching around the same time. If I do get my hands on that guy, I'll definitely give you guys some more experiences or opinions, of course. But this is an absolute must. If you're going with the standard GT or the GT Dream Edition, just note that it's primarily a RAM configuration and an aesthetics as far as UI elements, as I showed you. But other than that, the core experience is very much the same. You're not going to be disappointed, and let me know again what you guys think. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support. I will see you in the next video.